holiday catalog. If y'all have not received one of these, let me know and I'll get you one. If you're in the area, I'll drop it by your house. If you're out of the area, send me an email or a message on Messenger and with your address, and I'll get one in the mail. And this is good through the end of December. So I think we're going to go ahead and start. Hey, Kathy, can you hear me? Okay, can you see me or can you see the catalog? Okay, you can see me. All right, I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut this feed off because I want you to see what I'm getting ready to do. So I'm going to cut that off. So give me just a second. Let me shut this one off. I'm still learning all this stuff, so hopefully, all right, can you see me now or see my hands? It's, you know, a technical challenge here when we first do this. Same as Amy. Okay, well then give me just a second because we don't want it sideways. Let me flip my camera around. Memento here, watch it. I'm gonna, bear with me. I'm going to turn my tripod, my fancy little contraption that I'm using to record and do this demonstration. I know this is going to be a joke. This is like the blind leading the blind and it's only myself. So how's that go? All right, so let me move everything up and then we're going to get started because I know nobody wants to stay on this thing as long as, all right, there we go. I think, can you see it now? Are we good? Let me get my stuff all situated so it doesn't fall over again. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate a couple of cards using this new quilted Christmas set, and it's in our holiday catalog on page 4 and 5. And if you don't have a catalog and you want to get one, let me know. Just message me and I'll mail one or drop one by your house if you live in the area. Hey, it's my second time, and the first one, it was just a hoot. So anyways, this... the one reason that I'm doing this is I found that this set, even though it's a big Christmas suite, this set can be used all year round because of how we're going to use different colors. We're going to do 2 cards tonight. I'm going to demonstrate 2 cards that are not your typical Christmas, and then I'm going to do one at Christmas. So you can see that this card is going to be able to be used, the stamp set's going to be able to be used all year. Now in here, let me flip it over. There's a suite. And in here, in the suite, you've got the stamp set and you have framelits, and I'll show you those in just a moment. And it comes with some coordinating ribbon and these little felt embellishments. And then there's a pack of paper that I will show you a tip on that too. It's really cool. And then we've got an embossing folder, and I'll show you that. We're going to use that as well. So here is what the stamp set looks like. And it's got 16 stamp sets in here, stamps within this group. And it's all about the quilting. Now, I'm not a quilter, but my understanding from the quilting people that this is a really great thing. Now, these are the framelits. These are the things that are going to cut out items that we want to cut out. And this is called the Quilt Builder, and there's 15 of these. So this is nestled in between each other. This one here, this is a framelit, this cuts, but this one here, which we're going to use on one of the cards, this puts this sewing impression. So it's going to look like your card has been hand stitched. So that's a really neat thing. You got a needle, there's a flower, a star, it looks like a spool, and some hollies for Christmas. This flower, there's the framelit on the out, and then the inside cuts. And I'm not sure what these things are, but I'm sure it has to do with quilting, so I'm not worrying about those. Anyways, and then the paper, this paper comes in a 6x6 size. I think it's $9, but this is very Christmassy. But one thing I want to show you, this paper right here coordinates with this little guy right here, and you can cut this out with a framelit. So I think that's pretty cool. So those of you that aren't stampers and want to learn, like my neighbors, some of you are on here, you need to get with me and come to one of my classes so we can get you involved and see how easy it is to make greeting cards. Then this is the quilt top. This is an embossing folder. I don't know if y'all can see with the lighting. It's got little stitch circles and a diagram in the center. And this is, we're going to use this on one of the cards too. So this coordinates with everything else, and this gives your card some dimension. So enough of that. Let's get started making the cards. Let me show you what we're going to do. This is the first card. So as you can see, I'm using Night of Navy with our Daffodil Delight yellow. Now, the ribbon is from another suite. I didn't have any thicker ribbon, so I've used this, but I think a little thicker ribbon, a little wider ribbon would work. So this particular card I cut out the center, and then this is a different fold. So I stamped the image here, and then this one's gonna open this way, and then you can put your image on the inside. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to make this card. I went ahead and did some of the cutting ahead of time only because I didn't want to have y'all spending time watching me cut. So all I did was take the framelit, let me grab that real quick, and I just laid it on the card, pardon me, I laid it on the card at a diagonal and then ran it through the Big Shot, which then cuts it out like this, okay? Now, as you can see, this is the part that, this right here is the stamp that I'm gonna stamp our white cardstock. So let me show you how I'm gonna do that. Now, what I have done, I take my paper, and I'm not gonna glue it down yet until we get ready to, but I'm gonna take my paper and I'm just gonna make a mark. I'm gonna try to make sure I keep this in the okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a little dot right here so that I know where I can line up my stamp on this little white piece of paper, and then I can erase that. So let me make sure I get this in the paper. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our Night of Navy stamp, ink, and then here is the stamp that we're gonna be stamping. I don't know if y'all can see that, okay? And this has got the stitching, so let me just ink this up, make sure we get some good ink on it. All right, now bear with me because I don't want my head to get in the camera, but we're gonna go ahead and place this down. We'll put it right about there. And we're gonna push down hard, make sure we get the ink transfers on it, and then pull it up. All right, so now the next thing we're gonna do is there's these two strips in the stamp set, if you can see that. I don't know if you can see it or not, but one's got dots and one has stripes, and they line up, so they're gonna go in the angle to fill in the colors of the stamp set right here. So I'm gonna start with our navy, since we've got that open. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp. Now you'll have to look at lining them up to make sure you get, now if you go out of this a little bit off the square, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Because just remember, when you're sending a card to somebody, they don't know exactly what it's supposed to look like. They don't know. They'll just be appreciative. And you can see I got off a little bit, but we're not going to worry about that. Now we're going to go every other, right? Because I want this to be yellow. So then I'm going to go over here, and we're going to stamp this one and see how it stamps both of them. And it's off, but this is for demonstration purposes, so we're not going to be exact. I can't stick my head in the camera. I would, but I can't. So now I'm going to put the dotted one on here, and we're going to use our Daffodil Delight. All right, so I'm going to put this on here at an angle, and then we're going to ink this up with our Daffodil Delight. And now you can see I've got ink, so I've already boogered up this card, so this card is not going anywhere but into the trash. You just lay it in there, and we're going to ink it up again. Of course, this card right here is not looking as pretty, only because I'm trying to do this without looking at the actual thing. So you've got to line it up, and as you can see, you got to make sure you've got your sides going in the right direction. So we're going to put it like that. Now that obviously doesn't look good because it got blue all over it, but you get the gist of how this works. So once you get it, obviously that's got ink all over it from my hands. You tie your ribbon and it looks fine. So this is what the finished product looks like. Ta-da! So we're going to move on to the next card. That one should be a little bit easier, but that gives you an idea of how this stamp set can be used throughout the year, because you can use whatever color that you choose to use on it, and it doesn't have to be Christmas related. So let me clean my stamp real quick and get this cleaned up. And then the next card, we're gonna stick with the navy and yellow. This is gonna be white, a white card that I did, and we've done a yellow background, and then this one we've pieced in. So when you cut these, you're gonna pop out all these little pieces right here. So you wanna keep those little scraps, because then you can make extra cards with them in different colors. Now I'm gonna give you a trick about how to get this border on here. The framelit that comes with it doesn't give it this wide of a border. And as you can see, I also use the quilt top embossing folder. So I don't know if you can see that, okay? So this is what we're gonna do. Now I did do a lot of the cutting ahead of time because again, I didn't wanna hold you guys up. So we're gonna take our card base and we're gonna use Whisper White. So I'm just gonna fold it in half. The Whisper White is cut at, it's 8.5 by 5.5. And then we score it at 4 1/4. And I didn't score this one, so we're gonna do that. I have a bone folder somewhere. I don't know where it's at. All right, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach this. Fast Fuse is a really strong, it's stronger than the normal adhesive that you use, but anytime you're working with something that's embossed paper, I always recommend you use the Fast Fuse. It holds it a lot easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on here and attach it to the front of the card. And this is always, the second layer is always a little bit shorter, so it gives you a little bit of a border. Now, one of the things that we're also going to do is we're going to use our new adhesive sheets. Oh my goodness, I just started using these the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, I fell in love with them. So these are some of the scraps, if you can see them, I've got on the table. One of the things that I recommend is to get that thick square here. You want to cut a like a 3x3 cardstock, and that would gives you that bigger layer. Okay, now I'm going to use the Night of Navy to place it on the back. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to peel off the adhesive. Now this stuff is really sticky. If you get it on your fingers, you're going to have to just kind of rub it off. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it down on this blue sheet. So we're going to place it down here. And now we've got it on there, so I'm just going to rub it. Now I've already got glue on my fingers, so we're going to rub it all over, make sure it sticks really well. All right, and then I'm going to peel this off. Now we're going to place this on there. This one, and I'll have the measurements. I'll put them on the before I post the video. So I'm just going to place this right on top of that, and then I'm going to take my sheet from the paper and just use it to push down, because all of that adhesive is facing upwards, so you don't get your fingers. I just want to make sure all the paper is stuck down really nice. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is I've cut out all these different pieces in here, and I've also cut out some designer paper, and it's these little things. So now all you do is just start putting your card together. So I have these little squares that came out, and I'm just going to start popping them in here. This is, you know, I guess similar. This is the easy way of quilting, obviously. So I'm just going to cover up my square corners. I'm going to put them in blue. And again, you can do whatever color you want for your card. And then I'm going to alternate my yellow with the flowers. Now, the one thing you've got to look at is how they are, the angle that this is right here, because you want to make sure you get the square that's going to fit. This one fits here. So all you're going to do is, nope, that one doesn't fit. It's going to go this way. All right, so you're just going to pop it in there, and we're going to go yellow, and then I'm going to do a flower, because I'm going to do different color. So we're going to do this one. So bear with me just a minute, and then we're just going to go through, and this is all you do. This is so simple and so easy to get these cards done. It doesn't take any time. This is a little bit time consuming, but once you get it down, figured out on, you got all your supplies and everything cut, it works. It goes pretty fast. So we're just going to set the paper in there, and it just gives, the designer paper is just giving it a little bit of dimension, some extra little color that pulls the things together, and that's from our Daisy Delight. That is more of a springy, but I like it. So again, this card can be used all throughout the year. Card that we've done. Now I'm going to run this through the Big Shot, so give me a minute. Let me pull that up here. We're now going to use, oops, I forgot my little diamond pieces. Okay, so now we're going to cut, can y'all, let me get this in here so you can see my Big Shot. The stamping, for those of you that may not have done this, it's all about the tools that you use, and let me tell you, the tools make us look like we know what we're doing. I'm going to take this little, the guy right here that stitches, this one right here, okay? It's got the stitching. So we're gonna lay this on here, and you see how it just lines right up? And we're going to make a sandwich, because we have a plastic plate, our piece here, and then, let me turn this around because I got to crank it. And then we plate on top, so we call that a sandwich. And whenever you come to my classes, this is your arm exercise. You get to go home and tell your spouses that you had exercise class at stamping as well. So, let me move. All right, so we're going to just remove this. We just pop this right off. And can you see the stitching on it? Isn't that cool? So pretty. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to attach our dimensionals. There they are. I think Riley's moving my stuff. These are little foam dots that give dimension to the actual card. You never have enough of these dimensionals. I use them on almost almost every card we use dimensionals. All right, so I put 4 in the corners and then 1 in the center. Let me tell you a trick of the trade. If you can't get this the paper backing to come off, then just push your fingernail down in the center, and that helps to lift the paper. And it makes it a lot easier to pull it off. And then we want to make sure our card's open the right way, because I have one person who will remain anonymous. She always puts hers on sometimes backwards. Just going to lay this right about there and then just pop it down. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little bow. So I'm using, this is the Dapper Denim. It's just a different color blue, but it's a little bit lighter, so I think it will look really nice. And I'm just going to tie a bow with the baker's twine and then trim it up once I get it tied. And then we're going to use a glue dot. Having fingernails sometimes doesn't work. I probably should do bunny ears. I sat at the RV place today and made about 30 some holiday gift tags for the craft fair that I'm going to be in here in the Villages the 21st of October. So I'm excited about that. I got in the lottery. So we're going to tie our bow. We're going to stamp our sentiment to go on here. Let me move this out of the way. And we're going to stamp the sentiment that comes in the stamp set that says, "When life gives you scraps, make a quilt." So I've already got this pre-cut. It's like 3/4 of an inch by, I think, maybe 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that, our little sentiment. And then I am going to cut one end as a banner. So I'm just going to snip it in the center, and this is another tip. And then from corner to center, and then corner to center will get you your banner. Use our dimensionals, because we have to put those on everything. So we're going to use 2 dimensionals on our sentiment. Little backings whenever I have class. I swear they're all over my house. My poor cleaner lady, she comes out here and keeps cleaning and picking them up and picking them up. And stick that right in the center. And there you go. That's our next card that we've done. And again, it's not a Christmas card. All right, so that's the second card. Leave me some comments. Give me your thoughts on what you think. All right, now we're going to do a Christmas one. So this is going to show you what we can do with this. This is the Christmas one. And this is using the paper stack that I showed you. And we're doing it in garden green and then some real red cardstock. And then that designer paper is what we're filling in the corners with, which I did. Here's all my little scraps, okay? All right, so again, we're going to take our fast fuse and we're going to attach that to the front of our card. And again, I've already cut everything out just for timing, for the time it takes to do all this. And you just lay it down and put it on there, and you might be able to see it better with the green. We have our white piece, which is going to be the back. I have my red piece that I went ahead and cut out for you. And then we're going to use our, these things are just unbelievable. I'm so glad that Stampin' Up came out with these things. And we also have a new product that's going to be coming out. We're not sure when they're going to announce it, but I'll just tell you it's going to be alcohol blenders. I've ordered mine so I can start practicing with them. And I can't wait. I've never used alcohol markers, so I'm not sure, you know, it's going to help us blend in color. All right, so we're putting this down, our adhesive sheet on our white, because that's going to be my piece that I'm going to use for building my card. And then I'm just going to peel. All right, so we're going to put our red down on the white. There's one thing that we always say in stamping, there is no mistakes, it's only opportunities. So, for instance, like that, we just trim it off and you never know, because that's our backing. You're not going to see it anyways. Okay, so now we're going to start building. Hopefully I stay in the camera and y'all can see that. All right, so again, we want to find our squares to make sure they match. So we'll go ahead and fill in. Actually, before I do that, let me do my corners, because my corners are sticking and that's where I usually put my fingers. So again, all I'm doing is taking these corners and filling them in, and just, you're putting them down. So you see how easy this is? And again, that's why I said that this stamp set is definitely one that can be used all throughout the year. I think it's an awesome, awesome stamp set. So if you know any quilters, please pass along this information, because I'd love to have them come to a class, or if they're out of the area, I'm starting to do online classes so that they can come online, and then they can actually purchase the kit if they would like to go, that will have all the materials pre-cut. And then all they have to do is adhere. However, when we do online classes, we're not allowed to send any stamped images. So if you want to do that, then you're going to have to purchase the stamp sets, or use whatever you may have on hand. Okay, so I've got the green. You can see that. I'm trying to keep it in the camera, and I apologize. So now I'm just going to fill in my red, because again, I wanted this to look Christmassy. So you just figure out, it's like putting a puzzle together. Obviously, you can tell I'm probably not good at it, but it's like putting a puzzle together, you know, once you get all your pieces. And so if you do this and you have all your little scraps, you want to keep those, because then you can make all sorts of cards with your scraps that you already have cut out. And a lot of us stampers tend to be paper hoarders. So, all right, so now I'm going to fill in my triangles. So I'm filling it in only because that adhesive sheet, if my head's in there, let me know. I'm filling it in only because the adhesive sheet, it's got adhesive all over it. So if I don't, it's going to be sticky. There's that part of the card. Looks pretty good, huh? Very Christmassy. All right, now I'm taking these triangles. I am going to attach some adhesive on all four sides of the card, because I want these triangles to stick to them and show. And I'm going to do the green background. This is just, I found this on Pinterest. I don't create my stuff. I'm not that talented. So, but Stampin' Up has a saying called case, copy and share everything. So that's what I do. There are people out there that are very creative, and I'm not one of those. So see how nice that looks? Isn't that cute? Oh, I just love it. So now I'm going to add my dimensionals again, as usual. I have this attitude that people that are creative, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. If somebody is creative, I can just go in and copy. So we copy and share everything, and that's what CASE stands for. And I do that with all of my stuff. Very rarely do I try to come up with my own, because, okay, so here's our card base. Here's our sample of our little Christmas. So I'm just going to attach that in the center here, and I'm not going to put anything on the outside of the card for sentiment, and then you can stamp something on the inside. For instance, this one, I just stamped "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." So there you go. That is how easy it is on using this quilting set. So I hope you all have enjoyed this. Leave me a comment, and I will draw 3 names to get one of the cards. And if you all decide you want to order something, you can go to my blog at shallwestamp.com, and I have a host code. So if you enter that, then you're going to get something at the end of the month from me as a thank you gift. And my host code, and again, when I before I post the video, I'll put all of this information on there with the measurements and pictures of the cards. But the host code is Z like zebra, P like Paul, U36, S like Sam, MZ. That's the host code. You use that at your checkout screen. It will ask you for it, but you put it in the bottom left-hand corner. I hope you all have enjoyed this. I really never thought I was going to like this stamp set, because I thought, well, I don't do anything about quilting. And I just absolutely love it, especially when I got the ideas that I could do this that's not Christmas related. So there's the 3 cards, and I just really, really like these. They all have different looks to them. Aren't they beautiful? And that's very simple cards, very quick and easy cards. So again, some of you that aren't stampers, you can do this. And it's all about having the tools that make it look like you know what you're doing. And if you don't have the catalog, the holiday catalog, please let me know. This is what it looks like. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you need anything, reach out to me. You can email me. But there's so many beautiful. I just ordered this Painted Autumn. This is another stamp set that can be used all year, because you just change the colors, and absolutely stunning. Here's one that looks like a wreath, so you could kind of make it Christmassy. This is more fall related, but again, I've seen lots of cards with it in various colors. All sorts of goodies in here. Thank you guys for coming to my first Facebook page. I really would like your comments to let me know how I did. It's the only way I'm going to know if I need to do something differently. I was a little nervous, obviously, since it was really my first one, and I wanted to make sure it was right. So thank you again. I appreciate you guys stopping by. And again, visit my website at shallwestamp.com. Thanks again, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye now.